Hello, welcome to another episode of the Virtuous Jedi. Today we're going to cover something that a lot of people have questions about, which is Zapier and Virtuous. How can we make them work together? So the example I'm going to give you is how to send a pass-through acknowledgement through Zapier, which is something that's not currently included in the Virtuous toolkit, and a lot of people want to do. You've got a pass-through or soft credit donor. You want to acknowledge their gift. You want to say thank you for their gift, but obviously you don't want to receipt their gift. And that's something that's not been able to be done through the Virtuous receipting tool for a long time. I know it's on the radar, so by the time you're watching this may all be possible in Virtuous. But overall, I just want to share the principles of how you can use Virtuous and Zapier together to really create some powerful operations. So let's dive in. I have Virtuous open here in my sandbox, and in this tab, I've got Zapier. So we're just going to go in and create a new Zap by clicking this button right here. When we launch a new Zap in Zapier, the first thing that we're going to do is give it a name so we remember what we created. So we'll call this Passthrough Acknowledgement Virtuous. Cool. So the next thing that we're going to do is choose a trigger. Now in Zapier, you have two things. You have triggers and you have actions, right? So the first thing that we have to do is kick off a chain of actions, and we're going to do that every time a new gift comes into Virtuous. We want to check to see if it's a pass-through, and then we want to send that pass-through some type of communication. So let's start here. We are going to search for Virtuous. Now, I've already connected my Virtuous account here, but if you needed to connect your own, you've not connected yet, you'll see an option here to log in, and you just have to follow the process to log in. It's pretty quick and easy, but I'm just going to leave it as is. And then my event is going to be a new or updated gift. So every time a gift is new or updated, what are we going to do? So let's hit continue. In this case, I only want it to happen when the gift is new. I don't want to trigger this every time someone updates a gift. If someone edits a gift from a year ago that had a pass-through on it to add a little bit of extra information in the notes. I don't want it to send the pass-through a whole nother email, right? We only want it to go through once. So in this case, we're going to keep the gift status to new. Hit continue. We're going to then test our trigger so that we can pull in some real data from Virtuous that we're able to then use in this automation. Okay, so I just pulled in some gifts, but none of these actually have a pass-through attached to them. So I'm actually just going to go back into Virtuous real quick and create a pass-through gift so that I can test all of this. Okay, so now I've got a gift in Virtuous with a pass-through on it. I can come back and click on Load More, and Zapier should find that brand new gift that I just brought in. So we've got Vera and Elmer Sanders here. And if I just look for the pass-through, I'll see that I do have a pass-through ID here, which is exactly what I needed. Okay, so now you may be thinking, this is great. We're going to run this trigger every single time a new gift is created in Virtuous, but I don't want anything to happen when there's a pass-through set. So we're going to actually build in a filter step to make sure this only runs when we want it to run. So every time the gift is created, we want to send that data over to Zapier, but then we want to filter and make sure that we actually need to perform the set of actions that we're planning on performing. So we're going to use this filter step here, and we can choose our field that we're going to test. Now you'll see here why I said it's really important to actually test this with real data, because it's going to show you all of the different fields that Virtuous is sending over, and you want to make sure you're selecting the right one. A lot of them have similar names. So I want to search anytime a pass-through is on the contact. So I'm just going to type in pass-through to see what fields are available with that name, just like I might do in the query tool in Virtuous. If I don't always know the name, I kind of know generally what might be in that title, and I can filter down a lot faster than scrolling through an infinite list of different parameters. So we've got our gift contact pass-through ID, and we'll say only continue if that field exists. So we're only going to continue if that field exists, right? So I'm going to continue, and we're going to test and make sure that this Zap would have continued. And it says, yeah, it will. So when it says exist, that means that there's data in that field. So in this case, we do have a gift contact ID. We're going to continue. So the next thing that we want to do is actually find all that pass-through information in Virtuous so that we can find its email address and send it the information that we want to send. So we're going to do a Virtuous step again. And this time the event is going to be for us to find a contact. So in this step, this first gift step, what happened was we found the contact who gave the gift, that the gift is on their record, the Sanders. But what we want to do is find the pass-through record, which we don't have yet. So we're going to find a contact. We'll hit continue. And what we're going to do is we're going to search on contact ID. And so if we search our pass-through field again, we want to search Virtuous for anyone with that contact ID. We're going to ignore all the rest of this. This is great because we already know that we have the contact ID. We don't need to be searching on email or all those other things. So I'm just going to hit continue. So let's go ahead and test this action. And we should see my contact record, which is 418, pop up here. And there it is. So now we're not working with the Sanders anymore. We're working with the pass-through record, right? So now that we have that, we can actually perform an action. In this case, maybe we're going to send an email, right? So let's add another step. And you can actually send this through your own personal email. If you've got Outlook or Gmail or something like that, you can connect that account here. Or you can always use the email by Zapier option if you don't want to connect that. I would recommend connecting it to your own account though. It'll have your actual information. It's going to send from your inbox. It's just a little bit cleaner and more likely to be delivered. I also believe that the Zapier email by Zapier will actually append some information at the bottom to unsubscribe. Maybe not ideal. So in this one, we only have the one event, which is going to be to send our outbound email. The same principles that I'm going to show you here would apply no matter what provider that you're going to use. You just would choose your provider versus this on this action step. So in our 2, we want to send it to our pass-through email address. And you'll see we're actually getting our data sets split out by step. So this, if we used this one, we would be pulling in the original giver's email address. But in this find a contact step, we found the pass-through information. So if I drop that one open, I can look through here and I can see where we might find their email address. That's a lot to scroll through though, so I can still just type up here and it'll actually show me which data set it's pulling from. So in this case, I want to pull the primary contact method email, which is that right there. Then the subject line, thank you for your gift, whatever it needs to be. You can just type straight in there. And then in the body, you can use merge fields just like you might use in Virtuous. So you can say, hi, and then again, pull in the name. So maybe primary contact or primary individual first name, because they're the one that we're using their email address. So hi, Jonathan. And then I can say, thank you for your pass-through gift, or however you want to word that. And you can pull the original gift amount because we still have access to all that giving information. So we can look for our gift amount, formatted amount here. So thank you for your pass-through gift of whatever amount. We really appreciate it. So really simple to type this all out. You can change the from name, the reply to, all of that other information, and then you can hit continue. So in just a few steps, we now have been able to trigger based on an action that is happening in Virtuous, a new gift being created. Then we're able to filter in Zapier to only perform a series of steps if that gift meets certain qualifications. And then we can stack on additional steps to perform the actions that we want, right? So we can find the contact and send the email, but we could continue down this path if we wanted to maybe add a note in Virtuous. We could just keep adding on to this Zap. So now we can come in here and let's create a contact note. And we actually have, let me send this as a test real quick. So we'll test that action so we have some data to play with. So now if I come down to my action step here, I want to add this to the person that I just sent the record to. So I'm going to click on Custom, and I'm going to go to my Find a Contact in Virtuous, and I'm going to grab their ID. So now it's going to add the contact note to that contact. The type of note will be, maybe it's email, since we are sending them an email. And then the note itself, we can grab all of the content from this step where we sent that email right here in the body. So I can choose the body there. And then note, date, and time, I can put that as the today's date if I want. I can leave it blank. I think it defaults to today's date. Any other information, we're good to go. So now, if I go and I test this action, it's going to send that contact note over to Virtuous so we can verify. So let me just go to my record here. So if I go to my notes, sure enough, here's the email that was just sent. Hey, Jonathan, thank you for your Passthrough gift of $20. We really appreciate it. So now you know you've got a working Zap. You've tested every single step along the path. And you could continue going down this road. You could add some more steps in here. There's a lot more that Zapier is capable of, but we'll kind of leave it there for this example. If you found this helpful, if you want to see other use cases in Zapier, definitely let me know. I'd love to showcase how to do some different things in this tool. I think it's really one of the most powerful software tools that an organization can add to their toolkit because it allows you to connect so many different applications with each other. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. You can send a comment, send me an email. And until next time, may the fundraising force be with you.